I've been playing the new Economy 2.0 update for Skylines 2, and these are my thoughts on what's changing in the game, and I think it's improving or getting worse or staying the same or whatever that is. So just to clarify a few things, I do have access to the early access build, and I've played this for the last few days, and these are all based on my opinion about using and trying to understand all these changes and the new mechanics for the Economy 2.0 update. So first of all, it's very clear that Colossal Order and Paradox are really listening to our feedback, which is great. You probably saw the videos from City Planet Plays, Bifa, all going to the Paradox and talking to them about the what we are missing, what are the things that we want. We are also on a server talking together, providing feedback and also our opinion on the changes that are happening, and they're really listening. Although they're doing that, I still think that the pace and the development life cycle for Skylines 2, it's a little bit too slow, and I would love to see these updates getting a little bit faster out there. But I think the important thing is the updates are getting out there, and to see this first one with the economy all basically redone in very short time. And so the dev diary that was just released, say, in the upcoming 2 weeks. So we have something that's big and that will have a very big impact on the game. I'm happy about that. I think all in all things considered, this is everything going in the right direction. I also believe this won't be enough. More changes need to be made. But again, this is the first step, and I think this is in the right direction, and I really like what I'm seeing. So some of the main things that are changing in the app is basically, I think one that's very noticeable is that for starting the game and getting through the first milestones, it's not harder, but it's more challenging. You need to pay attention a little bit more, especially at the beginning, and be more conscious about the money or how you spend the money and how you do city services, for example. So this is very good, make the game a little more challenging, and it's not so inconsequential as it was before. But still, after I played for a long time, I felt that I ended up in the same situation as before. If you watch my live stream, you see that I have maximum amounts of money in the game, although I haven't got there yet, but it feels like it's going in that direction as well. So let's do that. It's still a little more challenging. You don't get those government subsidies anymore, so they have been completely removed, and I think this was good. Money was already easy in the game, and that was just like giving you way too much. So that's great. Now importing city service from the outside connections, it has a fee, and you can toggle that on and off. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. The upkeep for the city services, the cost for that has been increased as well, which again is a little bit more realistic and makes a little bit more sense. And I agree with that change. And this also makes things a little bit more challenging, but I think it's all a good challenge. It's not something that's going way too much in the other direction. And some demands has been improved as well. And I think the calculations around how people and businesses actually pay rent and how they spend their money have been redone and rebalanced. And that has been a very good change, because now you don't have those icons popping up that like rate is too high after you play the game for 5 minutes. It's been very well balanced this time, at least for the amount of time I've been playing. I haven't had as much trouble with that as before, and the job positions have been changed a little bit as well, especially industry. You have a lot more jobs in the industry now, which makes a lot more sense, and thankfully a lot more jobs for the less educated people, which for me before was just impossible to cater, or you just provide jobs for the uneducated, and then you have a ton of businesses missing employees for the other tiers, or was the other way around? So now you have a better chance at figuring that out. I still think you won't find the balance. I still think it's not possible to get that balance, to have jobs available for everyone or have a balance across everyone. So I still think there are some tweaks that need to be made in there to help us with achieving that good balance that I'm always looking for when I'm building my cities. And the production chain has, I think, was the last item that had been rebalanced to bring like the tax income to make it more visible, because if you knew this was creating a lot of money for the city and was kind of an exploit as well you could do, and this is a lot more reasonable now and works a little bit better. The balance between what the city needs, I think it was changed a little bit. I didn't see it in the dev diary, but playing the game felt that it was a little bit more control. So before you had like grains and vegetables and livestock was just crazy demand for that, and everything else is almost non-existent. Now you have like a little bit more of a spread and things are more realistic. So this is, in my opinion, a lot better. Now I want to go back a little bit to the toggle for the importing city services and the respective fee. So that is kind of, I don't think that's useful right now. I agree that we should have a way to turn that on and off, but the way it is in the game right now, it's kind of pointless. The only reason why I'm saying that is that or you toggle every single service on, or you toggle every single service off. You don't have an option to, for example, say, I just want to deal with external import garbage services, or I just want to import health services or death care services. No, you have to go all in, and then you spend so much money, or you go with nothing. Obviously, I've been going with nothing because it's a lot cheaper to do all those things internally in your own city than actually import those services. Even if you have those services in your city, it seems like this, you still have to pay a fee for importing those same services from the outside. I've tried to add more services than I thought the city would need, and I was still paying those fees. So it's not worth it in the way it is. I would love to just select some of the options. For example, I usually don't want to deal with garbage initially, and I would happily pay for that service for another city to come in and help me out than actually have that service in my city at the beginning. So things like that, I think, it has a very good future in there. I definitely believe that if they enable this toggle for not to be, or it has to be a citywide policy, but if I can enable just a few services or disable just a few, for example, and that would be a lot more helpful. And then I would use that. As it is, I don't think that's helping me out at all. And the cost to import every single service, especially when you're starting your city, is just not worth it. So that is that. If you haven't seen the dev diary yet, I highly suggest you that after you watch the video and leaving a like, of course, you go to the dev diary and take a look. They have a very interesting chart in there that talks all about the game currency, the game money, and how citizens and companies, they actually use or earn that money. For example, households will earn money with wages, pension, and or if they are criminals, they can get money with robbery, but they can lose money with robbery as well, or by paying rent and with leisure. And you have companies, you have outside investors or outside connections, and you have the city yourself, how you earn money and how you will spend your money as well. This clarifies a little bit how you can look at things to help, for example, your citizens get more money or your company to be more profitable. And you can look at that and then have a better understanding of your city. Now, I don't think things like that should be actually be in the game, so it's easier for everyone, not just for people that are following dev diaries, looking for videos on YouTube, trying to understand all of this, but for anyone that gets the game and start playing it, this should be in the game, so it's easier for everyone to understand, learn, and be able to manage their city properly. That is a very interesting sentence in the dev diary that I'll read for you right now. I said sentence, but it's actually a paragraph, but it reads like that. In Economy 2.0, we've rebalanced the costs of city services, which includes a significant increase in the upkeep costs. Our goal here is to give your choice more meaning as your city grows. Is your city's economy strong enough to afford a university, or will you have to increase taxes to pay for it? Can you afford to improve the city's mail service to make citizens happy, or will that have to wait until your economy is more stable? These are the kinds of questions we hope you'll be asking yourself as you play with the updates. I'll be honest, nothing like that went through my head when I was playing it. I think it definitely doesn't play a role in how I play it. My biggest concern in there is that every service upkeep you have as a cost per hour, but what you see that your city is earning, you see the cost per month or the money that you get per month, something like that. And that doesn't match. So every time I need to put a new service, if I want to know if I can afford it, it's not because my city doesn't have a strong economy or anything. It's just because I don't know if the calculation, I have to stop and think, is this upkeep per week times 4? Is it more or less than what I currently earn in the city? Is there any other costs involved in this as well? So it's just very unclear and confusing for me to make that transition. And I think for any new player, when you say, oh, this will cost 20,000, and that's what you're thinking. You're not thinking about 20,000 per week. And then you look at the money that you have and you see that you have, 30,000 per week and say, or 30,000 in what you get, it's actually per month. And you look at that, you just look at the numbers and say, oh, I can afford it. And then you put a building and all of a sudden you're in a deficit. So that's very confusing for players, especially if you're not paying attention to all those details. I don't know why the decision in this is since the beginning is not Economy 2.0 only, but I think it's one of my biggest complaints about this economy is that it's not clear how much you're spending and how much you're earning, and it's made to be confusing and to confuse you in when you can afford something or not. So I don't like that. I think that's one of the biggest things that need to change. Yeah, I think it's a very simple change. It's just the measurement that you use in there, and it should be easy to provide those values to match how you earn the money. If you earn in a monthly basis, show how much it's going to cost you in a monthly basis. If you earn in a weekly basis, show how that's going to cost you in a weekly basis. So you know it's easier for you to make any calculations. Now, one of the things that I believe have improved quite a lot in this update is actually demand. I think one of the biggest complaints that I've heard when we do our live streams or comments in our videos are basically, I don't have demand for offices. How do I get demand for high density? And all that sort of thing, right? And I think in this update, this has been a lot more balanced and you get that a little bit easier, and just by growing your city and providing what they need. So it's not as, oh, you need to put this building to try to increase education that takes like 1 year to in game to get some effect, and then you start seeing demand for office. No, now the city is on a size that made sense to have some demand for offices. So it's there. You can put offices down and they will be filled up. You have jobs in there, people work there. What you might need to look at is that those offices might need more education, more educated people to work on them. And then you might need to provide those services in your city to get people educated as well. And then this is where it gets more interesting, because you look at that and then you start to look at things on how you balance everything that's happening at the same time that you're growing and still providing the same services and making sure that everyone has access to what they need. So I thought it was really interesting change, and that made things a little bit more enjoyable. And the game, like overall, the game plays a lot better. I feel like it's a better game with this change. And that's why I'm saying that I like where it's going. Even though I have those things that I still believe need improvement, I feel like this is a good update and it is playing better. Demand is one of the areas that I believe are making a big difference, and I can see how commercial demands or office demands, they're all being rebalanced and they've been changing as well. Oh, by the way, I can't forget mentioning about the industry demands. It's not like it was anymore. You start your city with a little bit of industry and then you can basically forget about it. The amount of jobs they provide makes a lot of sense for you to increase your industry as well. So I just love that. It's just not something that you do and forget about it anymore. I really like it. In terms of education, because if you know how I play the game, I'm always looking at two very specific metrics. One is unemployment, actually three metrics. The other one is the jobs available per education level and the education level of our citizens. So, and I think this has changed a little bit. They are encouraging more people to get education, and they are even allowing some adults that don't have more basic levels of education to actually re-educate themselves and then get better jobs later on. So there is although small, but there's now a chance for that. So it's working a little bit better. I still feel like we just need way too many elementary schools, and I think this is still a problem. Still might need to basically span all the elementary education schools all around the map, but hopefully with new assets that I hope we have soon as well, we might be able to resolve that problem. Now, there are some changes in the game. There are quality of life change. That is, maybe there are two that are basically, in my opinion, the biggest ones. One that's a little bit smaller is that before you had to select the North American team, and then you'd be able to select like the low density housing for that. And if you want the European team, you have to click on a button and then select again the type of density that you want. Now you can select both at the same time and you see all those options, and you can just on one single menu, you can pick, if you're building a city where you use both styles, you can basically pick the style that you want without like having to toggle between menus, or sometimes even forgetting that you have that toggle, and then you are maybe with the wrong one selected and you have to redo a whole area because you forgot to change it. So that is really good. It makes it more clear. It's there, you can see it. I love it, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Now the second one, and I think this one is huge, is basically how you do upgrades for your city. Let's suppose you put down an elementary school, and before you upgrade that, and you go and select the little park that you have for the elementary school, you had to put that connected to the main building. Now you can put that wherever you want within the boundaries of the building. So each building has a range, and that range is the boundary where you can put that building. So you don't necessarily need to connect that to the main building. You can have like a road in between, you can have some houses in between, or whatever, and you can put that within that range. And I think this is absolutely fantastic, because this is the thing that I like the least about those upgrades. You were very limited to put that in like connected to the building, and they would all basically look the same anyway, and you would always do the same updates the same way, and I would rarely be happy with how that look. So now you have a lot more flexibility, and I feel like this is the way to go. So I love that. But again, overall speaking, I think the game is much better, play much better, and it's a lot more enjoyable. You don't have so many icons telling you that there is something wrong when there is actually nothing wrong. It's just was just the game not being balanced enough, and I think it's a little bit more challenging. I think they have achieved their goal in there in providing more challenge. I still think there are changes that need to be made to make it right. I think that there is still some way to go to get it to a place where I say, yeah, this is how everyone will enjoy it. But I think it's in the right direction. It's the first big update, and I think it's a good one. I think they've nailed a few things there. The ones that they haven't, I think they moved the nail towards the right direction, and it's just a matter of polishing things and getting things in the right place. Now, obviously, I think one of the issues that everyone has, and this won't resolve, is how the city looks and how many assets we have, and all of that things that we are saying that we need more assets in the game. This will come, but this is not the purpose of this update. I think this was important to have this update, and I think we might need one or two more like this. But I think this takes the pressure a little bit on trying to fix all these underlying issues and enable Coastal Order to focus on or to open the range of areas that they want to work on to improve the other areas of the game that we are saying that need some love. But that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments about these changes, and what you're looking forward. If you have any questions, let me know as well. Happy to walk you through my experience. I'll be live on Saturday. I won't be playing the new update yet. We are under NDA. You can play that on the live stream, but we'll be talking about this and going through some of these changes and answering questions that you might have and that I can answer based on this dev diary. So that'll be on Saturday, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and hopefully I'll see you there. But for today, that's all that we have, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.